Throughout history, humanity has faced disasters so powerful that they changed the course of civilization forever. Some were caused by the unstoppable forces of nature. Others were the result of human error, engineering failures, or unexpected events that no one saw coming. Entire cities have disappeared beneath volcanic ash. Massive ships once believed to be unsinkable vanished beneath the ocean. Nuclear accidents contaminated vast regions, while earthquakes, tsunamis, and hurricanes left millions of lives changed forever. These weren't just tragic moments, they became turning points in history. Every disaster revealed weaknesses, inspired new technologies, and forced governments, engineers, and scientists to rethink how we protect human life. In this documentary, you'll discover 10 of the biggest disasters ever recorded, from ancient catastrophes that buried entire civilizations to modern tragedies that transformed aviation, nuclear energy, engineering, and even space exploration. Some of these events claimed thousands of lives. Others remain mysterious even today, but every one of them left behind lessons that continue to shape the world we live in. So sit back, because these are the 10 biggest disasters that changed the world. In 1912, the RMS Titanic was the largest and most luxurious passenger ship ever built. Stretching over 269 meters in length, it was considered a masterpiece of engineering and was widely described as virtually unsinkable. On April 10, 1912, Titanic departed from Southampton, England, carrying more than 2,200 passengers and crew on its maiden voyage to New York City. Wealthy businessmen, immigrants searching for a better life, and families from around the world all shared the same dream of crossing the Atlantic. Late on the night of April 14th, disaster struck. Traveling through the icy waters of the North Atlantic, the ship collided with a massive iceberg. The impact tore open several sections of the hull, allowing freezing seawater to flood the lower compartments. In just under 3 hours, the impossible happened. The unsinkable Titanic disappeared beneath the ocean. More than 1,500 people lost their lives, making it one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history. The tragedy shocked the world and transformed maritime safety forever. International laws were strengthened, lifeboat requirements were expanded, and continuous iceberg monitoring became standard practice. Changes that continue to protect lives at sea today. In the early hours of April 26, 1986, one of the worst nuclear disasters in human history unfolded at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in northern Ukraine, then part of the Soviet Union. During a late-night safety test, a combination of human errors and reactor design flaws caused reactor number 4 to become unstable. Within seconds, 2 massive explosions ripped through the reactor building, blowing its roof apart and releasing enormous amounts of radioactive material into the atmosphere. At first, many workers had no idea how serious the accident was. Firefighters rushed to the scene, unaware they were being exposed to extremely dangerous levels of radiation while trying to extinguish the flames. The nearby city of Pripyat, home to nearly 50,000 people, was not evacuated until more than a day later. Residents were told to take only essential belongings, believing they would return in a few days. Most never came back. The Chernobyl disaster contaminated vast areas across Europe, led to major reforms in nuclear safety, and remains one of history's most powerful reminders of the importance of engineering, transparency, and responsibility. On the morning of December 26, 2004, one of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded struck beneath the Indian Ocean. Measuring a magnitude of 9.1, the massive quake lasted for several minutes, releasing more energy than millions of tons of explosives. The movement of the Earth's tectonic plates displaced an enormous volume of seawater, creating a series of gigantic tsunami waves that raced across the ocean at speeds of up to 800 kilometers per hour, almost as fast as a commercial airplane. Within hours, the waves slammed into the coastlines of Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, India, and several other countries. Entire villages were swept away in minutes, leaving people with almost no time to escape. More than 230,000 people lost their lives across 14 countries, making it one of the deadliest natural disasters in recorded history. Millions more were displaced, and entire communities were left in ruins. The tragedy transformed global disaster preparedness. Today, advanced tsunami warning systems, underwater sensors, and emergency evacuation plans help protect millions of people living along vulnerable coastlines. On the morning of September 11, 2001, the world witnessed one of the most shocking terrorist attacks in modern history. What began as an ordinary Tuesday quickly turned into a tragedy that would change global security forever. 19 hijackers seized 4 commercial airplanes shortly after takeoff. 2 of those aircraft were deliberately flown into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. A third struck the Pentagon near Washington, D.C., while the fourth crashed into a field in Pennsylvania after passengers fought back against the hijackers. Within less than 2 hours, both 110-story towers collapsed, sending massive clouds of dust and debris through the streets of Manhattan. Nearly 3,000 people from more than 90 countries lost their lives, while thousands more were injured. The attacks shocked the entire world and led to sweeping changes in aviation security, emergency response systems, and international counterterrorism efforts. Airport screening procedures became far stricter, and global security policies were transformed. More than 2 decades later, September 11 remains one of the most significant events of the 21st century, a reminder of how a single morning changed the course of history. In the year 79 AD, one of the most devastating volcanic eruptions in history destroyed entire Roman cities within just a few hours. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius forever changed the lives of thousands of people living near the Bay of Naples in southern Italy. For centuries, the volcano had remained quiet, and many residents had no idea they were living beside one of Europe's most dangerous volcanoes. Then, without warning, Vesuvius erupted with tremendous force, sending a massive column of ash, gas, and volcanic rock more than 30 kilometers into the sky. Soon after, deadly pyroclastic flows, superheated clouds of ash and toxic gases traveling at incredible speeds, rushed down the mountain, engulfing the nearby cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum. Buildings collapsed, streets disappeared beneath thick layers of ash, and thousands of people were unable to escape. Ironically, the volcanic ash that destroyed Pompeii also preserved it. Homes, streets, frescoes, and everyday objects remained buried for centuries, giving archaeologists an extraordinary window into daily life in the Roman Empire. Today, Pompeii stands as one of the world's most remarkable archaeological sites and a powerful reminder of nature's incredible force. On March 11, 2011, Japan experienced one of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded. Measuring a magnitude of 9.0, the massive quake shook the northeastern coast for nearly 6 minutes. But the earthquake itself was only the beginning. Just minutes later, a series of enormous tsunami waves, some reaching heights of more than 15 meters, crashed into the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. The seawater flooded the facility, knocking out backup generators that powered the reactor's cooling systems. Without electricity, the reactors began to overheat. Over the following days, hydrogen explosions damaged several reactor buildings, releasing radioactive material into the surrounding area. More than 150,000 people were evacuated from nearby communities as a precaution. Unlike Chernobyl, Fukushima was caused not by a reactor test, but by an unprecedented natural disaster that overwhelmed the plant's protective systems. It became the most serious nuclear accident since 1986. The Fukushima disaster changed nuclear energy forever. Countries around the world strengthened safety standards, redesigned emergency systems, and improved protection against earthquakes and tsunamis to reduce the risk of similar accidents in the future. In the early hours of September 2, 1666, a small fire broke out in a bakery on Pudding Lane in London. At first, it seemed like an ordinary accident, but within hours, it would become one of the most destructive urban disasters in European history. Strong winds, dry weather, and tightly packed wooden buildings allowed the flames to spread at an incredible speed. Firefighters had few effective tools, and the narrow medieval streets made it almost impossible to stop the blaze. For 4 days, the fire raged across the city. It destroyed more than 13,000 homes, nearly 90 churches, countless businesses, and the famous Old St. Paul's Cathedral. Around 80,000 people, almost the entire population of central London, were left homeless. Although the destruction was immense, the disaster became a turning point. When London was rebuilt, stricter building regulations required the use of brick and stone instead of wood, and wider streets were designed to slow the spread of future fires. The Great Fire of London transformed one of Europe's greatest cities forever, proving that even after devastating destruction, a stronger and safer future can emerge. On August 29, 2005, Hurricane Katrina made landfall on the Gulf Coast of the United States, becoming one of the most devastating natural disasters in American history. With winds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour, the storm tore across Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, leaving widespread destruction in its path. But Katrina's greatest danger wasn't the wind, it was the water. In New Orleans, several levees designed to protect the city failed, allowing floodwaters to pour into neighborhoods. Within hours, nearly 80% of the city was underwater, trapping thousands of residents in their homes. Rescue teams worked day and night, using helicopters, boats, and emergency vehicles to save stranded families. More than 1 million people were forced to evacuate, while entire communities were left without electricity, clean water, or shelter. Hurricane Katrina claimed more than 1,800 lives and caused an estimated $125 billion in damage, making it one of the costliest natural disasters in U.S. history. The disaster exposed serious weaknesses in emergency preparedness and flood protection. Since then, New Orleans has invested billions of dollars in stronger levees, flood barriers, and modern disaster response systems to better protect the city from future storms.